So welcome, Morgan. Thank you for
Thank you.
agreeing to chat with me today. I would love to learn more about what you do as far as your work, your coaching work that you do both online and I believe in person.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here with you. We always have good conversations.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I've been working with people on via Zoom since 2013, and it's continued to evolve over the years, of course, and will continue to evolve. But at this point, my coaching work is really focused working with women,
Mm,
um, and I work with an interdisciplinary approach. I'm a somatic recovery and spiritual guide, somatic recovery coach and spiritual guide, and I specialize in as a holistic core specialist. I work a lot with core recovery, core rehabilitation from a very holistic place. Um, Work with dance movement therapy and trauma recovery. And
mm,
all of this is still based in really coming to express, understand, explore our stories, our life stories, our childhoods, our the way that our lives have unfolded and impacted us, and also how that impacts um, our state of being now. Generally people are coming to me because they're really looking to heal. They're really focused. They have maybe one specific thing or a combination of things, and they feel like it feels very scattered and disconnected,
mm,
and trying to understand what's happening, how to heal it. And we kind of bring these puzzle pieces together.
mm.
And it's amazing how often these puzzle pieces kind of work together. So I very much work with that interdisciplinary approach, you
Mm.
know, um,
And I
because,
assume a lot of this, because you mentioned a lot of different modalities almost, and I
yeah.
imagine the interdisciplinary approach is has arisen from kind of your personal journey and what you found works for you, and you're integrating all of that together for your clients. Is
Well,
that?
it's a combination for sure. It's definitely has elements have definitely been connected to my own story. I've also been through, as I've it's been concurrent of studying and doing my studies, different healing studies, but also concurrently my own recovery from trauma, my own physical healing, somatic healing, and mental health recovery, because I did have many years of mental health struggles where I would go, into these episodes of
Mm,
mental illness. I would
mm,
be doing fine and flourishing and then drop down
mm,
into really very serious mental illness, severe depression,
mm,
dissociation, panic attacks, psychosis, and that. And then everything would get sabotaged and fall apart, and I have to
mm,
build myself back up again. And so I could just kept, doing, kept along the path,
mm,
kept,
mhm,
putting it together. But also, it's been through many, many years of, and I'll kind of talk a little more about how it all started as well, but it's been many years of talking with people,
mhm,
just talking and listening,
mhm,
a lot of listening, not just, kind of knowing what works for me. Oh, I'm going to do this on you, but
mhm.
listening to what people need, and where a
Yeah.
lot of where they have been seeking help
Mhm,
and not being able to find it,
mhm,
or even being told you can't heal that, or being disregarded, a lot of different levels of
mhm,
that, of different stories of people also not even thinking, just living kind of with these different issues and feeling miserable,
mm,
and um, just, yeah, it's, I just trust that spirit's always bringing us together, for
mhm,
that it's really ultimately underlying everything. Yeah, you're doing the effort, you're putting the outreach out and everything, but I believe that, whoever, whatever souls I'm meant to work with, we're going to find each other.
Mm-hmm.
And that's originally how I was trained, again, with
Mm-hmm.
spiritual healing work. And so
Mm-hmm.
that is what saved my life. I mean, that being the foundation to everything,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that relationship with our own soul, our own spirit, our own innate healing capacities, but through Creator, through our source, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever word people use, higher power, however that looks. I use a lot of interchangeable
Mm-hmm.
words, but I still connect to it as being that
Yeah.
same source of healing, source of love,
Mm-hmm.
you know, all knowing um, force that we're made of and that we
Mm-hmm.
come from, that we're going to, that we're seeking, all of it.
Mm-hmm.
um, so yeah, so a lot of stories, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
stories, a lot of stories over the
Yeah.
years, over 25 years.
Mm-hmm. And it sounds like you, you use a lot of different methodologies that you've, experienced or learned through the years. What would it look like, perhaps, how would it look for someone to come? What is kind of their process or the journey that you take them on?
Well, the and I'll walk through the structure too. It's always, again, going to be very connected into listening,
Mm-hmm.
to listening.
And
And
you're not beyond stories too, right? I imagine you listen in many different ways to what they need.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And I ask questions and everything
Mm-hmm.
too, of course. So generally people will, reach out, and or somebody will say this person is really needing help. But I really, and so it is going to be about that person. It is something they're looking for,
Mm-hmm.
or at least they're looking for something, and they come across me, or there's somebody refers them, or
Yeah.
however that looks. And so then we always start with an initial. I do a free clarity call,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about 20-30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Generally it's about 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do that. And since we're focusing on the online element, we'll do that through Zoom. We'll do that through FaceTime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've done it different ways. Sometimes it's a phone call.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice if it can be a video call, because then we're connecting, face to
Mm-hmm.
face. And if
Yeah.
they need to show me anything, if they're dealing with any particular physical issues, that they want to show me how it's impacting their body.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If we're working on core things, things in the core.
Mm-hmm.
And but there's an assessment as well once we
Mm-hmm.
officially start. So then I'm really looking at what they're dealing with. So, but just having that face-to-face connection.
Mm-hmm.
Again, though, the soul, the heart to heart, that's really,
Mm-hmm.
that intention is in everything. And so, whatever way we connect, we're going to connect.
Mm-hmm.
And um, so then, I like to start with listening to what they're dealing with, what their concern is, what they're looking for, to just get a sense of where they're at right now. Of course, that's
Mm-hmm.
where it has to happen.
Yeah.
And then I talk to them a little bit about what I do, and the
Mm-hmm.
format, and questions may come up. A lot of the time, I am giving them encouragement that they can heal.
Mm-hmm.
Simply bringing that message. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
I hear you, and this is something that I've worked with.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's something I haven't worked with as much, I'll say, so
Mm-hmm.
I haven't worked as much in this particular symptom issue, but I've
Mm-hmm.
worked with we work with the foundation,
Yeah.
bridging to your body, mind, and spirit, learning to um, take care of yourself, learning to understand why things are manifesting in your body, in your
Mm-hmm.
life,
Mm-hmm.
and really starting to, it's really a path of self-love. It's
Mm-hmm.
a path of self-love. The people who are looking for just a certain look, they just want to get in and get out,
Mm-hmm.
and they just want a certain look. they're not going to resonate with me.
Mm-hmm.
They're going
Mm-hmm.
to be like, what is this? This is such a waste of time, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because it's an unfolding, it's a relationship with yourself. And that was how I
Yeah.
was trained. And
Uh-huh.
that is how I have walked it,
Mm-hmm.
with all my falls and getting back up again. You
Mm-hmm.
just don't give up, and it takes you deeper in that relationship
Mm-hmm.
with yourself, with your being, with your body, with your mind,
Mm-hmm.
with the changes that you need to make with what you want to,
Mm-hmm.
what the transformation you're calling in,
Mm-hmm.
the changes. And sometimes it's that bare basics. I just want to be out of pain. I just want to get out of the
Mm-hmm.
pain, and a lot of it is there's the physical and there's the emotional as
Mm-hmm.
well, pain, and can be dealing with mental illness as well. Maybe not being in psychosis, but in they already. It's going to be somebody who's already focused on recovery. They're
Mm-hmm.
focused on their recovery, and sometimes the mental health system, they're just not fitting. It's not working for them. The established one, they've been through things. They've not been it's not always pretty. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they didn't have collaboration, they didn't have support.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody's on medication, I definitely say make sure I work as an advocate too. So really
Mm-hmm.
saying, make sure that the person that you're hiring, they're not
Mm-hmm.
doing you any favors. This is somebody who you're partnering with,
Mm-hmm.
who's supporting you. But just to back up, because I could go on and on about the different
Mm-hmm.
ways that we work together. But so we start with the consultation, and then we ease into things by go the next, if we decide to work together, because they're it's a collaboration. It's always a collaboration,
Mm-hmm.
in that way. um, I might be further on down the path, but we're going together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm walking side by side with them, supporting them along their path, as I am walking mine and dancing mine as we
Mm-hmm.
dance side by side. But then having that opportunity to, once we decide that we're a match, then go into a 90 minutes assessment session,
Mm-hmm.
and that is a deeper conversation. That is intake forms, and
Mm-hmm.
that is, if it's the woman happens to be a mother, and they're are post they're going to be postpartum. There's the
Mm-hmm.
postpartum intake, and it doesn't matter how many years later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll do that. I'll ask them about and often birth stories are an important element of the recovery as well,
Mm-hmm.
or just the postpartum story. It doesn't matter where it is that the story is,
Mm-hmm.
but we do that element. But their health history, their lifestyle, their goals, all of that into the present
Mm-hmm.
moment.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm doing a physical assessment as well.
Mm-hmm.
And core is an element of that: posture, core
Mm-hmm.
strength, core health, breath breath assessment, breathing patterns,
Mm-hmm.
flexibility, just
Mm.
how they move, how their
Yeah.
movement is in their life,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how they treat their bodies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you also have a physical studio where you also work with people in person, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
But even when I work with them in person, if we're doing the program,
mm-hmm.
we go into we always will do a consultation first to
Mm-hmm.
decide, then we go into the assessment, and then the program is 60-minute
Mm.
sessions weekly.
Mm-hmm.
And the
How,
minimum is a 3-month program.
3 month. Okay. And then how might it look different if someone were to work with you in person versus online?
Well, I have to say, the online is incredible in the way, I can reach people all over the world. We know
Mm-hmm.
that. That's
Mm-hmm.
amazing. People who may not have access in their area whatsoever may
Yeah.
not, it's a lot, it can be more manageable, even if it's local, to be able to not have to leave the house and deal with
Mm-hmm.
all the things.
Yeah.
Um, and, we know the whole world knows that how that can serve. But then in person, um, you know, we're humans. There's nothing like being able to be in physical space with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
In that healing place.
Mm-hmm.
So I do part of what I do online. It can be teaching them self massage, belly
Mm-hmm.
massage, and
Mm-hmm.
scar tissue massage, and
Mm-hmm.
different tools and such. But in person, I can also offer
Mm-hmm.
the addition of physical body work
Mm-hmm.
sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm right in there with the physical touch
Mm-hmm.
to, if, we're working with something, um, you know, that's
Yeah.
happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really beautiful element, because I've been doing massage therapy since the 90s, and that includes internal organ massage, abdominal
Mm-hmm.
massage, many different modalities, Hawaiian lomi lomi, and reflexology, and you
Mm-hmm.
know, all again conscious. Even because even people can be doing massage and not be conscious. So it's all
Mm-hmm.
very conscious oriented, supporting people to be present in their bodies and their
Mm-hmm.
breath, to understand how they treat their bodies, where that's coming from emotionally, and how, because often we're needing to change things, so we have
Mm-hmm.
to see ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and what we can change. So, and I do Thai yoga massage, which is really wonderful for aligning the hips and helping the body to open up again
Mm-hmm.
when it feels safe. So that element is a really nice element to
Yeah.
be able to add.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, of course, with the dance movement, when we're in physical space together,
Mm-hmm.
that's really beautiful.
Can
You
you
know,
talk a little bit more about the dance? I know that's a big part of your life and your work. Um, would you like to share just a little bit more about what that looks like, especially in the
in the
program?
program, yeah, absolutely. So, so we, in my signature program, and there's another one coming, but the signature program is Reclaim Your Creative Center.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the time, we can get, there's a lot of intelligence, a lot of wisdom, a lot of insight and feeling and creative expression, and just life flow in our centers, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know that too, of
Mm-hmm.
course. And we're dealing with these powerful chakras of grounding, the root chakra of belonging, of sensuality and sexuality and life force, the sacral chakra, second chakra,
Mm-hmm.
creative expression,
Mm-hmm.
creativity, relationship bonding, connection, and then self empowerment and personal will in the sacral chakra, third chakra. Um, and all of these all of these chakras are very impacted by how we hold ourselves, how again how our stories have impacted us. But it's not just our life story; it's our ancestral lines, it's our societal heritage of
Mm-hmm.
thousands of years. All of these
Mm-hmm.
things. So our bodies hold all of that in our cells, in our DNA, and they manifest in our bodies. And so, doing this kind of movement, it helps us because always we're wanting to be able to connect into the heart through this, but we have to get
Mm-hmm.
out of our full heads.
Mm-hmm.
And so with the dance movement, we work with the breath first. The breath is
Mm-hmm.
foundation to everything, always.
Mm-hmm.
Breath, spirit. Breath is spirit, breath
Mm-hmm.
is spirit and movement. And that's the inside out movement. And
Mm-hmm.
so we come into this place to help to come into stillness in the body, to help to come into the heart as well. And um, and so the dance movement, when my initial calling to dance as a healing art was in the 90s, while I was also training as a spiritual guide, or actually doing my own healing,
Mm-hmm.
starting my healing, and then that evolved into being trained, but I was always still doing my own healing as well.
Mm-hmm.
um, but all of that came together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it came with the breath work, it came with the with the energy work.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but the original calling came through the form of belly dance as a healing
Mm-hmm.
art because of all of the fluid movement, the pelvic movement, the
Mm-hmm.
empowerment, the
Mm-hmm.
isolation, the history of it, it being so connected to ancient divine feminine movement and labor and birth, and but
Mm-hmm.
it's also always come in its roots from the whole family, the whole generation. So it's designed. I mean, it comes from many different influences too, but it's designed to flow with the way the body is created, with
Mm-hmm.
the structure of the body. It's very organic. It doesn't hurt the body.
Mhm.
You know, it celebrates the body, and
Mm.
it very much helps us to get into these areas
Mhm.
and find creative flow and express beauty and tap
Mm.
into our own innate beauty.
Mhm.
And so to have that exposure to dance that is not about putting down your body type or
Mhm.
having to look a certain way or having to get this certain perfect technique and just kill yourself in the process, hurt
Mm.
yourself, or be
Mhm.
abused by a teacher in that
Mm.
process. There's a lot of that in the kind of the dance world.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
that was never my,
Mhm.
or what it was about.
Yeah.
Um, so, but just pelvic movement, freedom of movement, that comes into it. So it's not just formal belly dance. It's movement. It's dance. It's movement
Mm.
in general, but very much connected into the center. And I've done a lot of different styles of dance and have my
Mhm.
own style that's evolved over the
Mhm.
years too. And so
Mhm.
I really um, encourage that, but it's always in connected into being just really present with your own body. I've done, different kinds of Latin dance,
Mm.
it's very much pelvic mobility and
Mhm.
really joyful
Mhm.
hips, really
Yeah.
connecting in, um, you know, and social dancing. So I really bring in whatever we
Mm.
need, but it's still
Mhm.
going to be very much connected into the center.
Yeah. Beautiful.
It's really amazing what happens when people come together with the intention of healing.
Mm.
And I always trust that when there's a connection between what the person is seeking and what I bring, and that we feel that kind of synergy with our energy, that it's like, okay, we feel like we're a fit to work together.
Mm.
I
Mm.
always know that so much is going to unfold in that
Mhm.
process of working together. And I'm doing the work and being present, and they're doing the work and being present, and spirits, that there's always that element of knowing um, that our the soul, the creator, is going to guide this
Mhm.
process. It's got the structure. We've got the human structure, but then also the unfolding is going to happen, and there's so
Mm.
much healing that happens. There's so
Mhm.
much growth and healing that happens, and I provide, resources. They have homework with between
Mhm.
each session,
Mhm.
and I'm providing whatever it seems like is going to a tool or an insight that is going to be helpful in that process. So it's just a real. I feel really blessed to be doing this
Mm.
work. I really do,
Yeah.
and each person that I get to work with, in each group,
Mhm.
you know. So thank you
Wonderful.
for
Yeah.
letting me share.
Thanks for sharing.